The early morning sun was just beginning to stretch its golden fingers across the sleepy horizon when Elena Monroe pulled on her work boots and stepped out of the rusted trailer she had called home for the past decade. Her breath clouded in the crisp autumn air as she trudged down the gravel path leading to the main farmhouse. There was something peaceful in those quiet moments before the day's chaos began. But peace was a luxury she rarely afforded. For 12 years, Elena had worked on the Walker family farm, sun up to sundown. She wasn't just a hired hand, she was the backbone. A cook, a cleaner, a crop harvester, a mechanic when the tractors failed, and a nurse when someone got hurt. But she was never really seen. To the Walkers, she was simply Elena, the woman who showed up, did what was expected, and vanished quietly into her modest trailer. It was breakfast time when she walked into the big kitchen, filled with the comforting smells of fried eggs and fresh biscuits. The Walker brothers, Clint and Daryl, sat at the table with their wives, their teenage children scrolling on phones. Elena placed a steaming bowl of gravy down and smiled. No one looked up. Not even a "good morning." "Elena, you got the south field today," Clint grunted, his mouth full. "Those pumpkins ain't gonna pick themselves." She nodded. "Yes, sir." It had always been like this. They ate her food, used her hands, but never offered a seat at the table. Elena didn't mind. Or so she told herself. It wasn't about recognition, it was about helping people survive. That's what she was raised to do. But that morning would be different. Later that day, as Elena stacked the final crate of pumpkins onto the flatbed truck, she heard raised voices coming from the barn. She paused, wiping sweat from her brow. "She just eats and doesn't help," said Clint. "Can't keep feeding someone who gives nothing back." Daryl agreed, "She's been mooching off us for years. She ain't family." Elena froze. She could feel the sting behind her eyes, but the tears didn't fall. Not yet. She walked quietly to the barn's side door, stood just outside the frame, and listened to them discuss her like a burden, like a freeloader. They didn't see the nights she stayed up mending their kids' ripped jeans or the time she nursed Daryl's wife through pneumonia. They didn't remember the days she worked double shifts so they could rest. That night, she packed her bags. No goodbyes. No note. Just silence. She found a small town 2 counties over. Took a job in a family-run diner. The owners, a couple in their 60s named Marlene and George, treated her like a daughter. She was paid well, fed generously, and thanked often. For the first time, Elena felt seen. She began volunteering at the local shelter in the evenings, teaching women how to cook simple, nutritious meals. It filled her soul in a way the farm never did. Months passed. Back at the Walker farm, things began to unravel quickly. The crops weren't harvested on time. The tractor broke down, and no one could fix it. Meals were either burned or bland. The house was in disarray. The Walkers didn't realize how much Elena had done until her absence echoed through every corner. Winter hit hard that year. The Walkers' youngest, Jesse, fell ill. Without Elena's steady hand and homemade remedies, they panicked. Eventually, they had to call in an expensive doctor. Bills piled up. Fields were overrun with weeds come spring. The community, once reliant on the Walkers' produce, turned elsewhere. Business dropped. Their pride stopped them from reaching out to Elena. But fate has its way. A local farmers market event brought Elena's new diner booth next to a produce stall run by Marlene's cousin. Elena was arranging apple pies when she saw Clint. Gaunt. Tired. The man looked like he had aged 10 years. He did a double take. "Elena?" She looked up and offered a warm, polite smile. "Hello, Clint. You're here." "I am," she replied calmly. We didn't know what happened to you." She raised an eyebrow. "You said I ate but didn't help. So I left." Clint looked down, ashamed. We were wrong. We were so wrong. Everything's falling apart. Elena didn't respond immediately. She glanced around, saw the laughter of children, the smiling faces of her new community. A place that had welcomed her with open arms. I'm sorry, Clint whispered. We took you for granted. Tears welled in his eyes. Please, come back. We need you. She took a deep breath. I'm happy where I am, Clint. But I hope you learned something. He nodded slowly. We did. We learned that help doesn't always look like we expect. And sometimes, when someone gives everything quietly, it's easy to overlook. But without them, everything crumbles. Elena nodded. Then that's enough. As Clint turned to leave, Marlene came over and put a hand on Elena's shoulder. You okay? Elena smiled. Better than ever. The next day, Clint returned, not to beg, but to ask for advice. Elena didn't say yes, but she didn't say no either. Over time, she helped him rebuild, not by returning, but by teaching from a distance, offering guidance, and setting boundaries. The walkers never forgot what they lost. But more importantly, they never forgot what they learned, that unseen kindness is the most powerful, and when it disappears, its absence is thunderous. And Elena? She flourished. Not because she was needed, but because she was finally valued.